Hello again and welcome, Greenwood Tarrowers. Um, I hope you're all well. I hope you're enjoying the season, cold or warm or wherever you are in the world. Again, I just wanted to say a thank you to everybody that sent lovely messages of support, and I really appreciate it. And I wanted to especially thank folks that have expressed an interest in the actual course. That's something that we're going to develop very seriously over the next few weeks into next year. Obviously, it's going to be next year now. But it's something that I was almost taken aback by, very humbled to have people writing to me and sending me letters going, yeah, I want to be involved with the course. So, thank you. Yes, we are going to be doing that. And we're coming up with ways right now to make that a little bit more interesting, a little bit more interactive for folks, so you're involved with the whole process. I particularly like the idea of going to the locations, which does have some logistical challenges, but maybe that's something we will add as a little side element to the whole course, is the actual locations. So maybe one day you get a chance to go and visit these places yourself and just wander around and tune in. So that is something. So thank you very much again for those guys that have expressed interest in the course. We are expanding that and we will be working on that over the next few weeks. So, a lot to get through today, a lot of different aspects of all of this which I want to cover. And we're going to start with, basically, again, a lot of this stuff isn't known, so I have to repeat myself, and I'm sorry that I do, because it's in my head and it's in other people's experience, but it doesn't mean that necessarily that other people know this stuff. So, when we first started working on Greenwood and looking at the design of how it would function, and I know this is for those guys that work in the publishing business, and I don't mean this in any way to be a down on the publishing guys and packages. It's just the packaging people, you know. Sometimes when you do a book, it doesn't always fit the logistics of how you want to put it in the box. Now, with Greenwood, the box was like this thick, and the cards basically sat in one pile in the centre in the box. For those of you that own it, you know that. Well, what that does is it actually thins down the width of your book. So, because the book has to fit in on top of the actual stack of cards. With Wildwood, as an example, we did kind of a different thing with that. For those of you that own that, you know that there are, in fact, 2 stacks of cards inside like that, which make the book a bit flatter, which means you get a slightly thicker book in and it fits on the top of it like that. So sometimes it's just a simple case of logistics where material that you wanted to put in ends up having to be left out. It certainly happened with Wild Magic. There was a lot of material that we couldn't get into the book itself because there's a lot of different ideas that John and I had. So we had to leave it out and do it as a slightly separate book, the Wild Magic book, which for those of you who are interested is kind of a strange journey for me anyway, with the psychological side and the story side of living tarot. You might find that edifying. But anyway, when we did this, we discovered that there was actually a lot of material regarding the minor arcana that was by necessity left out of that book. So when the book went out and was being sold, we still had a lot of materials left over. And Cheska approached me about doing her own little booklet regarding particularly the minor arcana. She was going to cover the major arcana, but she wanted to cover the minor arcana as well. And that was, again, for real reasons. There was no real, difficulties with it. Cheska had some images that she liked, the publishers didn't. Some of them we negotiated around, and we put the imagery together in a way that made sense for the system. But there were some parts of it that Cheska wanted to go into deeper, and certainly with the minors that was the case. So she asked my permission to create a little booklet, which of one I have. It's the original booklet that Cheska produced. Now, there are other ones out there because, again, for those that don't know, Cheska and I toured all over. We went to America and Chicago, and as you know, I went to the Bodhi Tree and various other places around America, teaching Greenwood, and so did Cheska, and we agreed that that was what we should do, because it was to promote not just the idea and the concept of Ellen and the Wildwood and the history of all of that, but we both basically gave each other free range to go and promote it, because it was basically good for the whole system and good for the ethos. So Cheska created her a little booklet which she brought to me and asked my permission and asked my approval, which of course I gave, because I wanted Cheska to make some money out of what she was doing and her artwork. And I have that book. So what we are planning is to actually create a PDF form of that book, the original book, not an online book, not a copy of a digital copy, my original book, which we will then put online for free. So you will have access to the genuine article, the real book, which is mine, and we will put it online and you can have access to it for free. As you know, the imagery is floating about on the net for free, and you might as well have access to that little booklet, and it might as well be from the original one that Cheska gifted to me. And as to the next point regarding this is that as we both taught this and worked in this, don't forget I knew Cheska for over a decade. It took 3.5 years nearly to get the artwork together, certainly over 3 years. And the 2 years that she was living in my house in London, we worked together virtually every day with ideas and the system, and moved things about and played with stuff and meditated. Went on these trips to these locations, which I think why people would find it interesting. And that's how the deck was produced. So we both produced and have, and I think I actually paid for them, the transparencies from the original artwork. And I have one full set of the original transparencies that Cheska and I agreed to share. We had a set each, and that I could use as I saw fit to promote the system and the ethos. So that was something that we both agreed and shook hands on, that was what we would use them for. And as people know, because they were there, we both went off and promoted this and pushed the idea of the sacred consciousness in the Greenwood and in Wildwood. So I've always had permission, just to be clear about this, I've always had permission to do this and to use the artwork as I saw fit to promote the deck, and that is what we're going to do. So on another note now, moving on, one of the things that we've looked at, and I want you guys to be a part of this for lots of different reasons, is that we're looking at the actual way the deck should be produced. And I actually like this little box quite a lot. I think this is actually kind of like a little jewel box. I was very kindly sent these by one of the manufacturers. There are other styles of boxes if you want to do like big square ones and all that kind of stuff. But there are this kind of boxes, obviously your playing card type of box. And there are lots of different styles of cards with different edges, golden edges and silver edges. Obviously we without edges, with very complex back and colourings and stuff like that. So we want to hear from you regarding what you think. There's a silver one, there's a silver edge card, that's rather pretty, and they're rather beautiful artwork on the back and the front. We want to hear from you about your ideas regarding the reprint and what would be the best practical use, the card stock and the laminate and stuff like that, but also how, with the edging and that kind of stuff. They do look very pretty, I have to say. The gold ones, for instance, are very, very fetching. Of course, it's going to be affected by production costs and that kind of stuff. And we can't please everybody. I think anybody who's been following this online by now knows you can't please everybody. But we will try, and maybe we'll do it by some kind of a poll and a vote. We will try to come up with a deck which pleases everyone and is practical for everybody's purpose. So that's something that we'll also be working on the next couple of weeks, to come up with something that we can come up with that makes everybody happy. And Regarding the transparencies, is an idea that, again, just to be clear about this, any proceeds that are made from this will be held in trust for Cheska or her heirs or her family once we know that is definitely who these people are. There seems to be a lot of people out there, and you know who they are, pretending to be this one or that one, anonymous Facebook pages. No, I can't deal with that. I have to deal with factual, legal, real communications. I know what I have with Cheska, and I know what Cheska and I talked about, and I know the agreement that we had with her. So that's what I'm going to abide with at the moment. So, so to that point, we do actually have, because of the transparencies, particularly the major arcana, would make beautiful prints. And we're looking at the possibility of making prints from that artwork, and the proceeds will again go to Cheska Potter or her heirs or her family or charity, whatever she wants to do. I don't mind, but that's I think that artwork deserves to be out there to support again the whole concept of what we started out doing in the first place, which was framing a tarot deck which had the green consciousness, universal, however you want to view it and see it in the wild. So we're looking at that possibility as well. So we'll probably end up giving away PDFs of the book. We may print that up at some point in the proceedings and use the same mechanism. I may print it up, we can give it away with the deck from the original book, and give it away with that, and somehow find a way to do that, and the same with the actual artwork itself, so we can make the prints of it. The last thing I want to bring up, which again it'd be something to be decided, but one of the images that I do have that was given to me by Cheska was one of the alternative cards for the lovers, which we're going to post this online. I'll scan it and we'll post it so you can see it. There was, some of you may have similar artwork to this, I'm sure there's quite a bit of it out there. But this was given to me by Chess and signed by Chess, and it's one of the original efforts at the Lovers card, which was ultimately rejected, and we went to something a little bit more colourful, a bit more dynamic, and that was just part of the process. So I was thinking this actually might make a really interesting back of the card. So we're curious to know what people think, what folks think. I just thought because it was an original, I thought it would be nice for Cheska to have her artwork on the back of the card as well. And we can take a poll again regarding what should be on the back of the card, what the cards are made of, and what kind of box it goes into to protect it. And again, the whole point of this was to make the access to the actual deck reasonable and accessible and affordable. So we have to take that into consideration when we look at the production of this this next deck, the limited version of it. So please keep writing in, send us your thoughts, send us your any ideas that you've got regarding that part of it anyway, and we will keep moving solidly forward. This will probably be I'll probably do one more video before Christmas, because as things develop and move forward, I'll bring folks up to date again before the holidays. We get into the new year. Maybe on the 21st, that might be cool. Do a little something maybe on the 21st. And so thank you again for listening. You're welcome. Please leave comments, please leave ideas. You know where we are. I'm here, I'm not hiding. I am accessible. Thank you again, appreciated, and have a great time in the Greenwood. Cheers and blessings all.